Welcome to the Violin Village video series, episode 5. Hey guys, how's it going? Nimrod Villamarzo here. Kamusta kayo dyan? Now today is a very special episode because we have a very special announcement later on in the video. And aside from that, I have managed to get my hands on a Maestrato G violin from Violin Village. Now if you're not familiar with that yet, Violin Village has 3 series of violins available for advanced and beginner players. We have the Avanzato violin, we have the Concerto S and G violin, and we have the Maestrato S and G series as well. Now the S stands for Stradivarius and the G stands for Guarnerius because these violins are patterned after the work of Antonio Stradivari and Giuseppe Guarneri. By the way, we have good news po for those people residing in Metro Manila. For appointments or if you'd like to check our violins, you may check our violins at our agent's residence at V Luna, Quezon City. You may contact Neil through this number. Well, last week we've discussed kung ano ka-essential yung luga. Yung bridge, ang dimensions nito, yung placement, yung quality ng wood, and how it transmits sound through the rest of the body of the violin. Today, we're going to check on another part of the violin, and sometimes if you're a beginner, medyo hindi na to tinitignan, but for a luthier or an advanced player, this is something that is important as the rest of the part of the violin as well. And today, we're going to look at the tailpiece. Now for today's episode, madidiscover natin yung answers to questions such as why do some violins have only one fine tuner while the others have 4? Number 2, why are there metal, plastic, carbon, and wooden tailpieces? Number 3, what's the benefit of a harp-style compensated tailpiece? Number 4, how do tailpieces affect a violin's tone? Tatalakayin natin yan and aalamin yung mga answers on those questions from no other than the owner of Violin Village himself, Sir Chester Nimrod Elias.
Kumusta kayo, mga villagers? How are you, Kuya Nimrod? Magandang tanong yan. Yan yung common question ng aming mga clients sa amin kung bakit daw yung violins namin ay mayroong isang fine tuner lamang. Many beginner violinists ay nasanay sila sa kanilang violin na usually kapag binili mo yung violin sa mall, yung mga factory-made violins, they come with aluminum tailpiece or metal tailpiece with embedded 4 fine tuners. And now, most of the handmade violins na may wooden tailpiece ay meron lamang default na 1 tuner na nilalagay. Ito yung fine tuner or fine adjuster. What's the reason behind that? Baroque violins, or those violins made during the 1700s and even the 1800s by our great master luthiers such as Stradivari, Guarneri, ay walang fine tuners. Yung fine tuners, accessory na lang po yon. It's invented lately. And the purpose of fine tuners, simple lang, para maging mas madali yung pagtono ng violins. Kasi when you tune using the pegs, konting tono lang ay medyo malayo na yung interval ng pitch. Unless fine tuners, of course, as the name suggests, you can fine tune the pitch of the violin. Pero if you're using professional strings such as perlon, synthetic gut, or polycaprolactam, or even nylon, these 3 strings, G, D, and A, will be easy to tune. Even if you twist it, konti lang yung interval ng change or difference sa pitch. Unlike sa metal strings, kahit na isang click lang na ganon, malayo na yung interval ng pitch. Kaya it's easier. So usually professionals don't use fine tuners on the G, D, and A. Another reason, fine tuners, they shorten or they decrease the after length of the string. When I say after length, ito yung length ng string from the bridge to the tailpiece. Without fine tuners, medyo mahaba yung after length ng string. Kapag nilagyan mo siya ng fine tuner, umiiksi. Ano ba yung purpose ng after length? They contribute a lot and the improvement of a violin's tone. Kapag naririnig mo, may mga overtones, undertones na nakikreate dito. And there are waves na napapasa, it vibrates through the afterlength going to the tailpiece. Now, I'm not really a physicist or a scientist that can explain the physics behind, but it improves the tone, period. As simple as that. Kapag may fine tuner, nadadagdagan yung weight ng tailpiece, therefore dampening the sound or the tone of the violin. Ibig sabihin, kapag walang fine tuner, maganda yung sound ng violin. May iba nga hindi talaga gumagamit ng fine tuner to simply preserve the integrity of the tone. Bakit ba may iba't ibang material for tailpiece? Different materials contribute to the changes or pinagkaiba ng sound. For example, boxwood tailpiece. It creates a more resonant tone. Medyo hindi siya ganun ka-dense yung kanyang material. So, if you have a violin na medyo muddy yung tunog, lagyan nyo ng boxwood tailpiece, it would add to the resonance or to the warmth of the tone. At the same time, kapag yung tone yun, ng violin nyo naman ay sobrang bright or medyo, sabi natin, sumisigaw ng konti, masyado malakas, I suggest you use an ebony tailpiece na makapal. Kasi yung ebony, it's a very dense kind of wood. It would dampen the sound a bit. It would make it more mature. At the same time, sabi ng iba, ngayon may mga bagong tailpiece, yung Pernambuco. Wow, napakaganda po ng tunog ng Pernambuco tailpiece. Bakit pa tayo may compensated tailpiece o yung harp-style na tailpiece? By the way, yan yung aming featured violins ngayon, fitted with harp-style tailpiece. Yung harp-style tailpiece, pinapahaba niya yung afterlength sa bass strings. More afterlength on the G string and D string compared to the treble strings. Bakit? Maraming effect yun sa violin. First, it helps eliminate the wolf tones kapag mas mahaba yung afterlength sa G string. Wolf tones, sabi ko nga, yung mga muffled sound, may pinipindot ka na notes dito pero medyo hindi mo siya mapalabas because of the muffled sound. Adding more afterlength on the G string would solve that problem. Pangalawa, it improves the harmonics. Later on, kapag advanced na kayo, you know what harmonics are. And also, at the same time, nagdadagdag siya sa mga overtones and undertones. Yung may mga resonance and the beautiful vibrations na narinig kayo kapag kayo ay tumutugtog. May mga humming sound na sometimes it really adds beauty and color to your tone. So far, yan lang muna. I will not overload you with information, but I tell you, tailpiece, hindi lang yan for accessory. Hindi lang siya designed na para hawakan yung strings. But it adds a lot of color, tonal color sa inyong violin. Thank you once again. Yan lang muna. This is Kuya Chester from Violin Village. And back to you, Kuya Nimrod.
Sir Chester, maraming salamat po for that amazing input. Marami na naman kaming natutunan today. Now, add ko lang to guys this is just my personal opinion lang. This tailpiece that I have here, this is a hill type tailpiece. I think if I'm not mistaken, this is made of rosewood. At saka meron siyang this part right here. Now, yung purpose nito is just to basically hold the tailpiece in place. But some violinists, luthiers, as well as other people who are keen to listening on the sound of the violin, they would argue that sometimes this part right here, the wire loop, kailangan talaga that you're using a certain material here. So sometimes they would use a metal wire loop, sometimes gotcha, I'm not too sure about that, or sometimes Kevlar. Now, those things have different effects on the sound. If you'd like to know more about that, you can message us here at Violin Village, or you can also use Google kasi Google is your friend. Now, like I said earlier, I have the Maestrato G violin with me here. This is patterned after the Vieuxtemps Guarneri. So we'll take a closer look at this. A quick sound sample for you guys. Check this out. Hi guys, so sound sample muna tayo. Right now, I'm just going to be recording this one from the microphone of the camera itself. Also, we're just going to be playing some short scales, some very short pieces lang, just to test yung sound quality of the violins here. Right now, I'm going to be playing on the two-piece back na Maestrato G. Maestrato G, or the Guarneri's model of its pattern after the Vieuxtemps Guarneri. This time we're going to be playing on a Maestrato G Vieuxtemps Guarneri. And but this time this is going to be the one-piece back, as you can see. Now, if you're interested with this violin, I have very good news for you guys. It is currently at a discounted price up until July 30 only po. So what you need to do is just take a screenshot of this voucher. And this voucher only applies to the two-piece back Maestrato G violin that I used earlier, as well as the one-piece back violin na narinig nyo rin kanina. Now, what you need to do is you just have to message us here at Violin Village together with the Maestrato G violin that you have, plus the screenshot of the voucher that you've just taken earlier, and automatically po ma-apply na yung discount nyo up to 2,000 pesos on your purchase. At hindi lang yan guys, meron pa as well discount on your shipping up to 800 pesos. Now take note only po, this is only up until July 30, so make use of this time to take advantage of the Maestrato G violin from Violin Village. Again, to check our other violins, especially if you're in Metro Manila, you can message our agent Neil through this number. Now, comment reading section po tayo ngayon guys. We have one from Mrs. Marian Trilla. Thank you so much Violin Village. Ang laki po talaga ng natutulong nyo sa string community, especially sa mga beginners like me. Lagi kami nakaabang sa mga knowledge na ituturo nyo. God bless and more power po. Maraming salamat po Miss Marian, and I do hope that you keep that perseverance in learning the instrument. I promise you po worth it po sa huli. We also have one from Miss Ann De Vera. More episode please. Yeah, Miss Ann, we're uploading po once per week. So, maraming salamat po sa pag-aabang ng mga videos namin. And we're trying to make sure that it has a value to you guys. Now guys, maraming salamat po sa pagsubaybay ng Violin Village video series. If you wish to follow me on my socials, you can check that one right here. Once again, I'm Nimrod Villamarzo, and I will see you on our next episode here at the Violin Village video series. Ingat po kayo.